Hello, BookTube. This is Alan. I'm here with a tag. I was actually tagged in another video. Uh, Bill Rutenberg, the Rutenberg Library, tagged me for the April Showers tag, but I have to get my books out since I only have this one bookcase here, and the other books are in large gray bins, and I really need to get another bookshelf. It desperately need it. But this one is the bread tag. It's a I saw this tag on Steve 3 channel. Steve Donahue did it, and Shandy Steadfast and Brian Bookish. Before I begin, I want to say a couple things. I had worked 7 days this week, and I'm not bragging because it's like there's a lot more people out of work, and they don't know if they're going back to work because a lot of companies are cutting back because of the recession that is happening. And also the one of the places where I worked was at FedEx, and they had two large tents set up, and there was no air conditioning, no fan, and you just sat there in a larger tent, and you check temperatures of the people that came by. And so there was a second tent, was a smaller tent, set up next to where the truck drivers drive, come into the hub and then out. So you had to check their temperature and or check and see if they had armbands armbands on. And the temperature was like 80, upper 80s, 90 degrees. And so during the mid afternoon, the sun go to the west, and that sun, and so the smaller tent was facing the west, so you had the sun coming in. You didn't have much shade, so I got sunburned on my face and my arms, and I felt sorry for this one lady coworker who, coworker who worked with me. She's very nice, very sweet lady. She used to work at the U.S. Embassy in Afghanistan, and she showed me pictures. She showed me pictures of the U.S. Embassy in Afghanistan, and just a little bit of it inside the embassy there in Afghanistan. But she is Muslim. That's her religion. And during this time, the Muslims fasting because of Ramadan. They're fasting, so they can't eat or drink anything for several hours. I think she said it's like from 5 o'clock in the morning to 8 at night, something like that. It might be later. I'm not sure. Excuse me. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Apologize. The and so, and I offered her a mint, and she couldn't take it. Well, one of those Altoid mints, and she couldn't take it because she was Muslim. She was fasting, and so I felt sorry for her being out in that 90-degree heat and without any water or any. Somebody offered her. A truck driver gave her a bottle of Gatorade, and she couldn't take it because she is fasting, and that goes on for like 30 days, I believe. Anyway, the second thing I'm going to bring up before I start this bread tag is that, you know, Jason, by the way, some Bookland, had encouraged me to start this booktube channel, and I'm very, very gracious to him for encouraging me to start this booktube channel. When YouTube did their changes in their policy, I was kind of wondering, well, is it going to affect the booktube channel? So I asked uh, Mark Richardson Reeds, and Steve Donahue. We're having a live talk, live stream at the little farmhouse in Vermont. And so I asked the question, is it okay to start it? And they both gave their, oh, yeah, go ahead and do it. So I started this channel and felt kind of, and I've done several videos, and I mentioned in my first video that I'm not very well educated, that I've been to 4 colleges and really only got an associate's degree. And I see other booktube channels like Steve Donahue, Mark Richardson, Reeves, Jason at Byways and Booklands, Tom G. Steadfast, Brian at Bookish channels, Peg at the History Shelf, and I see these people and they're educated, and they come across as being educated, and it kind of hurts me that I'm not educated, and it hurts me that so that is one of the what's the word for it, and I can't think of the word for it right now. Inferior? No, that could be a word, but it makes me insecure that I'm not up to their level, and my videos may come up about because I'm not that well educated as they are. Also, there's another thing that I'm going to bring up is that I don't know how BookTube operates. It's my new first time there, so you had the buddy reads, you had buddy reads, you had the where they pick a book and they read it, and I made some comments on one that David Murphy, another person who has a higher degree and sounds very smarter than I am, and made a comment in which he on his channel, and I felt sorry for that. I deleted it and I apologize for doing so. So let's go on with the bread tag. Sorry if I don't know who the original tag this is, but I apologize for that. First question is, prompt is white. A work of 21st century genre fiction he sees studied in the years to come. Well, the prompt, or it states as a work of 21st century genre fiction. Now it's kind of assuming that it's a new type of genre fiction. There's no such thing as a new type of genre. There's only there's a genre, and there's a subgenre, and there's a subgenre. It's always always kind of like a, you have those lines going from, you start from one, you go to this one, to this one, and that's what it is. And basically, I could come up with, I was going to say steampunk, but steampunk has been around for a while, even though it hasn't taken off until this 21st century. And at Jules Verne's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, there's a couple more that were published in the 1980s, and it didn't take off until steampunk didn't take off until YA. YA's authors started writing about the pre-Victorian and the Victorian era. That's where steampunk comes from. You have to have that era in order to write about steampunk, because it relies on steam rather than electricity. So it's the beginning of electricity, but you have to have steam, and the person has to have goggles off. And you can think of Cassandra Clare, who wrote the Mortal Instruments series. You can think of V. Schwab, The Darkest Shade of Magic. You can think of Scott Westerfeld, who wrote Leviathan. And so steampunk didn't take off until YA authors went to the pre-Victorian, Victorian era. So steampunk. Prompt number 2, whole wheat, a work you're reluctant to read, but feel the need to read at some time. Well, I mentioned this one before. Is probably Tolstoy. I haven't read any Tolstoy. I haven't read his War and Peace. I'm looking at the book Resurrection right now. I haven't read Anna Karenina. I haven't read any of his. I did read a biography last year of Tolstoy, so I haven't read any of this. So I'm waiting for David Murphy to start a read-along with for one of Tolstoy's works. Prompt number 3, Italian, a writer that can write in any genre or category. And my choice would be G.K. Chesterton. G.K. Chesterton, he wrote essays, he wrote plays, he wrote poems, he wrote over 100 poems. He wrote Christian apologetics, he wrote Catholic apologetics, and he wrote mystery for the Dr. Brown. And he did a lot of sketches and did a lot of art. So he widely ranged author. Problem number 4, garlic. Which genre or category would you argue has the most versatility and why? And my choice would be history. And the reason why history is because you can tell right now what's going on because Hilary Mantel comes up with the historical fiction about Bernard Cornwell. Excuse me, Thomas Cornwell. And called Mirror in the Light. That's the last of the trilogy. And so a lot of people are reading that, but they also want to read other stories that goes on with that, along with that, the biographies, the different people in there. They want to read about, maybe some scandalous thing that happened or some love story that went on, and you can read about that a lot in history because you can have say maybe the Reformation. You can read about an overview of the Reformation, but you can go in deeper and deeper and deeper and see, what did the Catholics do about this? What did the Protestants? What about? You have different sections, just like I mentioned earlier with the first prompt. You have different sections. You can just keep breaking them down, breaking them down, and you can have the keynote. Also, the keynote is a small portion, and you can have historical writers write it. You can have historical fiction. You can come up with a love story. You can come up with like a romance or love story, and you can break it off into thrillers. You can break off into horror. You can break off into science fiction if you wanted to, and it's been done. And so history would be my choice for garlic. Number 5, pumpernickel, a work that is hard to digest. Excuse me, some new drink here. Work that's hard to digest. That would be Walter Isaacson. As I've tried to read his biography of Benjamin Franklin, and it was just horrible. It was horrible. They would throw quotes in there from Groucho Marx, Marilyn Monroe, Elvis Presley. It's like, what does this have to do with Benjamin Franklin? They'll throw, they'll throw a quote in there, and you don't know if he made it up or what because he doesn't have it. He doesn't have any endnotes. He doesn't have any footnotes. He doesn't have a source of bibliography references. He said that John Adams was sour. Well, that's his opinion though, because he doesn't have the sour John Adams. He doesn't have any endnotes and footnotes. That's his author's own personality. He'll throw in, this biographer Benjamin Franklin said this. It'll run through several paragraphs I'm like, what's going on here? This is not a biography. It was horrible. Moving on, number 6, right. An overbearing perspective in a given genre. Overbearing. Oh, well, I'm gonna have to skip that one. I'm sorry. Number 7, sourdough. A writer whose works are usually cynical. Well, I haven't read a lot of writers. I've read a couple of them. I've read a couple of works from writers, like when we were talking about. I still can't think of that Irish writer's name. He was thrown in prison for something. His work on Picture of Dorian Gray. Or you can have, The Great Gatsby. But I haven't read any of their other works, so I cannot say about any of their other works, or they're cynical or not. Number 8, banana. A character that made something of a given situation. That's a good question. I had to think about this one. It made something out of a given situation. I probably have to go with gosh. I have to go with James Herriot and Operation Fall as the character there who had a choice whether or not to save the dog or let the dog die, or let the sheep die. I think it was a sheep or a dog. I'm trying to think, it was a sheep, and it was hard because he knew that the person that owned the sheep was the only thing he had. So he tried to come up with a situation it was a desperate need to find some situation, some antidote, some way to, because it was hard. Number 9, Allah, a work that helped you develop a better understanding of Judaism. There would be several. Josephus' works. There would be Leon Uris, Exodus, and Liam Potok's works. The Chosen, and My Name is Asher Lev. There's 3 authors there. Number 10, Matzo. Well, matzo is Jewish also, so it's used in, it is used in, it's actually called the bread of affliction, because it's used in Passover. As Passover, it's unleavened, and it's used in Passover. It's called the bread of affliction. So, a work that reminds you about the importance of modesty, which is interesting because it's a bread of affliction. That would be Stoner by John Williams. It's about this boy who is the only son of this couple, and he goes to a college, and he changes his major to English, and he spends all this time and becomes a teacher. He spends all this time being ridiculed, gets married, his wife is, well, she's just out of it, really. There's no love there. And, but he's stern, and he just takes it as it comes. And it's an excellent novel. Number 11, Daily, a book that should be in every home. I have questions about this. I thought about this. because Sean D. Steadfast and Steve Donahue said the King James Bible. Both of them also related that they were atheists. I was brought up in the Bible Belt, so it's the South in the Texas, and in here in Dallas we had the largest Baptist church and Southern Baptist church and the largest Methodist church at one time, and every single household had a Bible. They had this big, huge, usually white, and usually said gold imprinted Holy Bible on it, and it's usually kept and in prominent display in the living room. So when you walk into somebody's house, there it was. And there's always a bookmark by it, but the thing is, you never seen anybody open it. It was just there. And that's in probably every single home throughout the South during the time I was growing up. And the problem with just saying the Bible is the fact that, oh, you can have it there, but it's like, but do you actually read it? Do you actually obey what it says? And probably not. 9 times out of 10, no. You don't obey what it says. And so a book that should be in every home, I kind of struggle with that because I've eliminated the Bible, and I don't know what else would go there. A dictionary? Well, you can get a dictionary on your phone. Works of William Shakespeare? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what would be in everyone's home. Number 12, a baguette. Name 3 books that are perfect to dip in and out of. Those would be, one would be kind of like a anthology of short stories. Jason of Byways and Bookland mentioned this, that you can just go into a short story, read it, and come back out of it. Book of poems would be good. Sean D. Steadfast mentioned several on his channel that he was doing. You can just go in and read a poem and read out and go out. And the third one would be can't think of a third one. I got probably this one right here. This is an anthology of literature. It just has a combination of short stories and poems and novellas in here. So part of Shakespeare, and that's the same, probably the same one as mentioned before. Number 13, Olive Garden Breadstick, and unexpectedly great book you read this year. That would be The Game by Ken Dryden. Ken Dryden played for the Montreal Canadiens, and in this book he tells you about what it takes to be, what really happens to athletes when they're away from home, when they're away from the children, when they're on the road and just going through the motions. And it goes back and forth from where you grew up to where he is now and it's very hard. And it's shown how the corporations actually took over the sports industry, and how the original stadiums like Montreal Forum, Maple Leaf Gardens, or just no longer exist. You could say that with the Boston Garden, or a lot of other stadiums and arenas are just torn down and everybody's turned into a parking lot, or to where they charge you $20 to park. Number 14. What is your favorite kind of bread? I don't eat bread by itself. I have to have something on it. Like steak or peanut butter or cream cheese and It has to have tuna fish or something like that. It has to have something on it. And I can't eat it by itself. Uh, if you look at the ingredients of like Wonder Bread, there's like 27 different ingredients on there. That's ridiculous. Number 15, bread truck hoodie tag. Well, I think a lot of people have done this tag. For those who have not done it, you can go ahead and do this tag. It's very good. It's the bread tag. And I thank you very much, BookTube. Take care. Have a good day.